3 or 4 years ago by the Maffey boys, both in their 80s,
Maffey,
who
yeah.
lived at White Cliffs, and they said that their dad actually worked in the pottery just inland from White Cliffs.
Yep.
And they came looking for this, and they've actually written a book about the history of it. And the story is that the Dean's family were part of a consortium who owned the pottery and a coal mine there, and apparently they were using horse-drawn tubs to bring the material back to the factory, and they decided to get upmarket, so they imported this locomotive from England in 1884, 1885, and they used it on the wooden rails that the horses used to run on, but apparently it used to jump off the tracks, and because it was so heavy, it was a major job to put it back on the track. So they decided to go back to the horses, so they sold this locomotive to a mining company down in White Cliffs, way down in Southland. And apparently it worked down there for decades, and eventually got put aside and buried. Then about 8 to 10 years ago, Solid Energy were going to open cast that coalfield, and the dozer driver in the big D8 was shifting all the overburden, and he hooked into the corner of this locomotive, which was buried. That's why it's all bent. So all the history of it, and Solid Energy actually arranged to bring it back here, and we've done an assessment of it to determine as to what it would cost to restore it. So it's a little bit beyond our means, but we did get some prices to get the boiler done, and they were talking 50 or 60,000 pounds just to get the boiler done. So what we're intending to do is to have it as an attraction as people go around the Mudfish Railway.
Yep.
We'll have this painted up and rust proofed under a shelter, and we'll have some interpretation panels which actually tell its story. So its name was the Dunedin. It's a beautiful little locomotive, and it's real neat that we've actually got it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in White Cliffs not so long ago. Didn't realise it was such a small place.
Oh, it's a unique little
unique little
community,
town, yeah.
which we want to keep it that way.
The Deans, the Deans, they owned the original pottery there. They actually owned the brickworks and the pottery.
It was called Homewood.
Oh, okay.
Homebush.
Homebush pottery.
Homebush.
And I've got a brick at home called with Homebush written on it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The farm's still called Homebush. It's still Homebush.
Well, when we do the interpretation panels, it'd be nice to keep in touch to make sure we get all the words and the stories right.
Yeah.
So
And I've also got the book that
Yeah.
the Maffey brothers wrote, which is
well,
called
we've got a copy of that.
which is
that's
called
a good book.
and called the Industrial, the Melbourne Industrial Melbourne Hills or something like that.
Yeah, we've got a copy of
Yeah,
that.
good. Yeah.
So yeah, nice little story.
Yeah.
It is, eh?
Yeah. No, it's
But like, I mean, you drive through White Cliffs there now, and you just
you've got no idea.
no idea.
What's been there.
As you get further along in the township, there's the old railway shed down the end, and but that's about all. There'd be no idea unless you go up the gorge, and we go up fishing up through
I've
the gorge.
always wanted to go there because when I was at school a long time ago in Otago Boys in Dunedin, John Hoare.
Oh yeah, John lived there.
So he was one of my classmates. Of course, he went on to bigger and better things, but apparently he lived in White Cliffs for a while.
Yeah, what's he been on? 2 years now.
Yeah,
about
no,
2
he's in a
years.
home now.
He's in a home.
Oh, really?
We were at a
dementia
barbecue
got
with
him
him
a bit.
about 4 or 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
we didn't use it. And,
Well, there you go.
just lived up